So, Frank, thanks very much for joining us. Huge announcement yesterday. Daniel Dubois will get his shot at redemption against Oleksandr Usyk, July 19th at Wembley Stadium. What's not to like?
History. First time ever a unification of the heavyweight title to take place in this country, and the four belts are on the line. So Daniel has an opportunity to take his place in sporting history of UK.
And you've got Oleksandr Usyk, former undisputed champion, of course, and Daniel Dubois, arguably the form man in the heavyweight division. Of course, they have already boxed a couple of years ago. Lots happened between both of them since then. How different is Daniel compared to the Daniel who boxed him in August 2023?
I think he's mentally matured over the last couple of years. He's been, in this period of 14 months that he fought Usyk, which for me was controversial with that alleged low blow. Since then, we put him in 3 fights, which I thought were very tough fights. First one against Babe Miller, and I did that because Babe Miller is very good before a fight of intimidating opponents, getting into their heads, and I really wanted that to happen with Daniel, that he toughens up mentally more, and it worked. And Daniel done a job at the end, stopped him in the 12th round. Next one was Hrgović, who nobody wanted to fight. Nobody. It was mandatory for how many? Probably about 18 months, 2 years. Nobody fought him. The bogeyman, as they called him, of the heavyweight division. We made that fight. It was, again, a tough fight on paper for him. And certainly it was in the first 3 or 4 rounds, where he was getting caught quite a few times by Hrgović with his right hand. But he gritted his teeth, knuckled down, and done a job, and should have stopped him in the 5th round. I thought the referee may have stopped it there, but certainly stopped him in the next round with a cut eye. But I think he'd knocked him over anyway. And then in with Britain's hero, 2-time world champion AJ, 90,000 people at Wembley, 89,500 of them behind AJ, and he'd done what he had to do. I mean, from the first round, since he caught him with that superb first jab, he was the boss all the way through, and he'd done something that nobody had done to AJ in that fashion. And AJ was coming in off of a roll. And in each of those fights, he was an underdog with the bookmakers, each of them. And out of the 4, he won 3 of them. And a controversial moment in the fight where where Usyk got a 4-minute break.
Before we talk about the Usyk fight, let's just quickly touch upon that Anthony Joshua night, special night at Wembley Stadium. Again, obviously you've worked with Daniel since his professional debut. You've worked alongside your significant other, Mr. Hearn, while he's taken Anthony Joshua through to the two-time heavyweight champion. You've had some pretty special nights in boxing, Frank, but where did that one rank for you?
What, this coming up?
The one in September, Joshua.
The one in September, for my sort of being a Noel sometimes, that for me was a great moment, because I really did feel I've said it for a couple of years, I thought he had the beating of AJ. I thought his styles make fights, and I knew his style would beat him. And that's how it turned out. So it was a very, very special night.
Obviously, Oleksandr Usyk, quite a different stylistic proposition than Anthony Joshua.
Well, it is, but they know each other. They've been in the ring together. They shared a ring together. I know he can hurt him. I know that Usyk, who I've got great admiration for, he's beaten every British fighter that he's been in with. But I believe that he has weaknesses, and it was nearly exploited in that first fight. I mean, that's the punch I always felt would give him problems. So Daniel knows what he's got to do in this next fight, and it's going to be a great fight. And as I said, it's historical because of the belts and so forth. And if he comes through that, how bad is that? 48 years I've been doing this now. I mean, for him to come through and do that, heavyweight champion, and I've looked after a few British heavyweight world champions, but I think that would be something special. The first guy to hold the 4 belts, that's historical.
Saw a bit of spice today on the pitch between Daniel and Oleksandr Usyk. I wasn't necessarily expecting that, were you?
Nor was I. We all moved off the centre circle at Wembley and let him get around, and I don't know what was said or what happened, but next to me he pushed him, and that was it. But he's in his last few fights, going back to Miller, where normally in a press conference he doesn't say boo to a goose, he wants to do his talking in the ring, or let his fist do the talking. He's actually got a bit more vociferous now, and says he's held his own in all those press conferences, and I think he's not going to feel, he doesn't, or he's not going to let anybody intimidate him.
You mentioned earlier about the was it or wasn't it, the low blow in the first fight. Aside from targeting the body and landing that shot to the body, what else does Daniel have to do in the rematch?
He's got to work his jab. Got to be busy. Got to be busy. He's got to push him back, keep him on the back foot. You know, he doesn't fight too well going backwards, Usyk. You put him on his back foot and it negates about 70% of what he is.
Another thing that I've been keen to ask you about, I saw the poster today, obviously Queensbury ready to fight. I saw Riyadh Season. What's Turkey Al Sheikh or Ring Magazine's involvement in this
Riyadh
card?
Season is sponsoring the event. It's a joint promotion between myself and Igis and Krasik's company.
Okay, interesting. Oleksandr Usyk, I saw him arguing with Don Charles' son, George Fox.
I didn't see it. I don't even know what happened there.
So they were arguing. I think there was a suggestion from Oleksandr Usyk of a 4-on-4 team fight after the fight on July the 19th, which again is kind of out of character for Usyk.
I've got to tell you, I hope that's not the case and we haven't got any contracts there. If anyone's going to promote that, I want to know what's going on.
Oh, George Fox said that you're in part of the team.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'll work the corner.
Just on Oleksandr Usyk, you mentioned there, you know, he's beaten Tyson Fury twice, he's beaten Anthony Joshua twice, he has that win over Daniel in the first fight. As far as you're concerned, as far as kind of foreign import, so to speak, I know the Daniel fight was obviously in Poland. How good is Oleksandr Usyk?
He's a great fighter. I mean, his fights with, I look at the fights he had with Tyson, I thought Tyson won at least one of them. And it was close fights, very close fights. But he's a magnificent fighter. He's a tough guy. He's done everything that's been asked of him, right going back to the Olympics. Cruiserweight, he's done everything, and he's an admirable person and character. And I mean, I read in the Boxing News, one of your writers said they made him sort of like one of the top 3 heavyweights of all time, if I remember rightly. You know, with some of the fighters they said he would beat. Certainly in the 21st century, and I love that because I want Daniel to beat the guy who's the best heavyweight of the 21st century.
A lot of talk going into this fight. I mean, obviously Daniel, the last time we didn't necessarily see him was around the fight with Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker now obviously not fighting Daniel. What's next for Joe Parker?
Joe Parker will have a fight, and then he's got the winner because the WBO have ordered that, and instead of fighting for 1 belt, he'll be fighting for 4 belts.
And then last but not least, wouldn't be right for me to not ask you about, I guess, tomorrow's heavyweight champion, Moses Itauma. Obviously got himself a fight booked in a couple of weeks' time, up north of the wall. How excited are you for his 2025?
I'm very excited about Moses. He's an exciting fighter, and he's coming on in leaps and bounds. You know, he's got a great team around him. Francis, my son, manages him. Ben Davison training him and his team. You know, he's done everything that's been asked of him. He's very intelligent, he's smart, and he'll be the next generation. I believe he'll be the next generation.
And then before I let you go, Frank, we mentioned it a couple of times in this interview. It's going to be a running theme throughout the promotion of this fight. I'm going to speak to Daniel about it, speak to Usyk about it as well, hopefully. The low blow in the first fight. What are your recollections of it? What did you see? What do you think happened? What should have happened?
It wasn't a low blow. In fact, I left them in the bloody room next door when we were just doing an interview. I got the photographs. It's on his waistband. And the waistband is above his navel. It's the navel, it's not the waistband, it's the navel. It was not a low blow. It was not, I don't care what anyone says, it's not sour grapes, it just was not a low blow. And the referee got it wrong, and not only did he get it wrong, when he wanted to fight on Alexandrov, he said, no, not yet, take some more time. What's that all about? So, look, it is what it is, you're not going to change it, adds a bit of spice to this one. I'm looking forward to this fight. This fight is going to be something special. It's going to be exciting. The atmosphere is going to be brilliant, and it's the best. Boxing's about levels. This is the top floor. This is the penthouse of boxing. It's the top level.
And lastly, Frank, how does it end? July the 19th, Daniel Dubois against Oleksandr Usyk.
Daniel Dubois will knock him out.
There we go. Thanks very much.
Good.
Perfect. Cheers, Frank.